Now, my personal but completely objective opinion is that Blackmagic Design's DaVinci Resolve 19 is the most important tool for you to know and use for post-production in 2024. If you're new here, you're my new best friend. Welcome. My name's Chadwick. I'm a 42-year-old New York-based finishing editor. See, losing my hair, not lying. And I'm also a certified DaVinci Resolve master trainer with over 20 years of consecutive daily professional video editing experience for national broadcast commercials and churches. So the only reason I tell you that today is because I'm really obsessed with all the little tiny small little details, the perfection stuff. That's the commercial side of me coming out. But more importantly, this channel is here to help you make a difference using Resolve in anything that you feel called to create. That's my church side. So in no particular order, here are my favorite little things that I love and are brand new in DaVinci Resolve 19. Restore deleted timelines. This one is huge personally for me because just yesterday, as this software was released, I actually was trying to clean things up because I like things tidy, and I had a timeline selected that I didn't mean to. I hit delete, and it's gone. With version 19 right now, you can go to this 3-dot menu and restore old timelines. This is gonna be a huge lifesaver. This is so small, but it's so important. The number pad timecode entry. What this does is it lets you navigate the timeline faster with the keyboard. You hit the plus and minus and you can jump up and down in time. You can also nudge and move all your clips and trim them with that as well. Deliver page optimize loudness. Now this is a new checkbox that's on the deliver page, and it's different than the normalize that was added not all that long ago. This one actually applies compression and dynamics to really make a difference to the loudness over the course of your video, which is a great way if you're going to upload to YouTube to kind of get a consistency without having to do a lot of extra mixing work. You can now disable video layers in a drop down in the deliver page. Why do you think this is important and why do I love this so much? Well, a lot of times I need to create generics, which are like a textless version of a video. And before, what I would do is I would actually create a new version of it, or would have to go back to the edit page and disable the track. Now I can just stay in the deliver page, stay in that sort of zone and that mindset, make an option that is always set for generics, which would be disabling whatever video layers I had, titles on and that sort of stuff, add it to the render queue, and then I'm done. You can tab marker clips in the media pool to rename them. This is actually a new feature, and it's a really small thing, but it is something that we will use all the time now. If you are an assistant editor, you're used to going in and renaming any sort of fields, and you can use the tab key to go from one field to the next, but the marker clips, the clip names, the marker clip names have always been skipped over. So now if there's a marker set, you can go ahead and rename them, hitting tab, rename, and you can just keep your hands on the keyboard, which is going to make you much faster, and you're going to be able to get through your job much, much easier. This is probably more than a little thing, but the clip inspector over in the file tab now has the ability to change your audio channel configuration. You can also mute certain channels if you need to, and it really just keeps you from having to deal with open up the clip attributes anytime you want to change which mic you're listening to on the timeline. I love this. I'm going to be using it a lot. Multi-poly. This is just like Nuke. It is so welcome to have in Fusion. It'll keep me from having to do all my roto shapes and put them into a single group. It's basically every shape is just a layer, just like multi-merge that came out a year ago. I'm going to use it all the time. I want to give you one little quick tip here whenever you're doing roto shapes in Fusion, and that is the fact about dealing with motion blur and overlapping shapes. This is something I haven't really heard much out there. I'm sure I'll do a tutorial on it, but it's all about using the maximum paint blending mode that's in there. Because if you've ever tried to roto, let's say an arm is moving, you need to have a shape here and a shape here. Well, in the overlap area, when you have motion blur with those two different things, you have weird things happen in the semi-transparent areas. So know about maximum paint blend mode, and now it's all in one single area for you to go and adjust that and make sure that that's working correctly. So multi-poly, it's gonna be great. It's gonna save up a lot of space on my node graph. Blackmagic Cloud media sync improvements. If you're an early adopter like me, you've seen some struggles with getting files in and out of Blackmagic Cloud. Well, now we have a few more tools at our disposal to sort of see what's going on. Oh, and one other thing I'm really looking forward to is if you use a Blackmagic Cloud store, those are the local boxes, right? There's 3 or 4 different models of that. You're going to be able to use those directly with Blackmagic Cloud storage instead of having to use Dropbox or Google Drive. Blackmagic Cloud organizations. This one is huge. This means Blackmagic is going big time into their cloud offering. They're going after Avid. They're going after Adobe. What they're offering very soon is the ability to use SSO. SSO is single sign-on. It means like if your employer gives you an email to log into one service, use that same email and they control the gateway to all that. It works, it helps with security so they can actually do work for specific companies that require that, It also allows them to give permissions for, specific libraries. You can rent software for $30 a month and scale up and scale down as businesses change. I think it's a huge step, and I can't wait to see it implemented and in practice, even at the company that I work for. The EQ, the equalizer tool on the Fairlight page, now has an analyzer built in, meaning when you're playing live, you can actually see all the frequencies as they're going. I wish this was there earlier, but I'm so glad it's there now. This is going to make it much easier to sort of carve out areas of the sound that are problematic. Sidechain capable VST and AU plugin support. This one is huge. If you're still mixing in Pro Tools, which a lot of people are, now you have the ability to actually use Fairlight and use all those plugins that you love from Waves or wherever you're getting them from that have the sidechain button on them. What this means is, if you're unfamiliar, it means you can send, your voice dialogue track to another track, maybe a music track, and have that listen to it for things like specific VST plugins that do EQ. So like you might have a music track that you want to EQ out specific frequencies so that the voice sits in it much nicer. It's a more advanced way than just like lowering the volume or compressing it. You have that ability. It's been missing, and I'm so glad that it seems like it's here now. Now this one borderline small and big for me. It's the OpenFX DaVinci Resolve renderer plugin for third-party applications. What it means is if you grade in Resolve in the color page, you can export your still, your DRX still, and load it into Nuke. You can load it into Flame. You can load it into Fusion Studio, which is my weapon of choice. And you can actually use all the color information, including a lot of the plugin stuff, that's in DaVinci Resolve Studio. That's wild to me that is even functional, that works. But it's now a thing, and I'm really excited that they've made that available. The catch here is when you go to install the beta for DaVinci Resolve 19, there is an extra box. You need to make sure you check there for custom install so that you get that plugin loaded. And then you just put that Resolve renderer plugin at the end of your schematic or your node tree and whatever software you're using, and you're going to get an accurate look at what it's going to look like once it's rendered off the color page in Resolve. Remote monitoring with IP address connections. Now, I'm a tech nerd, so I particularly love this one. But what this means is you don't have to sign into Blackmagic Cloud to be able to use the remote monitoring. Remote monitoring came out, it's been out for a couple years, but it got bigger last year. It means you can send your timeline or your color grading directly to, a phone or an iPad that has the app, or a computer that has Resolve Studio with an Ultra Studio connected to like a display. It's a great way to, you avoid having to use another service. There's some great ones out there like Looper, but to get a live play out, to live stream and have a collaborative experience, now the person doesn't have to be logged into Blackmagic Cloud. And imagine a creative that you asked to sign up for Blackmagic Cloud and doesn't want to. You don't have to anymore. You just enter the IP address of the host, which is your computer, and Bob's your uncle. Little thing, how about 2 times faster decodes with zip1 compressed OpenEXR sequences? I mean, if you're like me and you're compositing a bunch and you realize that it's better to render sequences than it is to render movie files because you can distribute it or you can actually just render a part of a sequence, well, now we can work faster with zip1 compressed OpenEXR. Better Fusion View LUT support. Now there are CSTs that are in there. There's better OpenColor IO, ACES support. Now it's easier than ever to work in linear gamma in the Fusion page like you should be without having to know a whole lot about other than clicking that special button right there, and you'll get a good representation of your image in the Fusion viewer. Text Plus now has on-screen controls just like the regular text tool on the edit page. Just make sure that you go to the Fusion overlay mode, then you can right-click and manipulate anything you see on screen, which is sometimes nicer than having to go over to the side and feel a little bit disconnected from your image. You can edit directly on the screen. The trim editor from the cut page is now on the edit page, which is where I work most of the time. It reminds me a lot of Avid. We have a giant source and we have a giant record or timeline view, and it just makes it easier to sort of see the transition between the cut. You can easily roll, ripple trim either side. I think it's gonna be super, super handy to just get a better, bigger view on the screen. If you like this video, you might enjoy more of my little tips secrets that's in a series that should be on screen right now. And because there's so much more to learn, I'll see you in that next video. Oh, and warning, this is a beta software. That's enough said.